Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith and you're watching another episode of Overbooked here on the channel. This is the series where I talk about every single book on my shelves because we must find caretakers for all of these lost children. We got there in the end. Today we are talking about Sangu Mandannna's The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. It is finally the day. I think I've been recommending this book in pretty much every single video for the last 2 years? When did this book come out? 2 years. Cue the title music. Some quick disclaimers before we start. I did buy this copy of this book myself. I can't remember if I had a review copy digitally. Regardless of where books come from, nobody's paying me to talk about books except my patrons, and all opinions are my own. I'm going to keep this as spoiler-free as humanly possible. I am going to be talking about the book as a whole. If you want to go in knowing absolutely nothing, come back when you've read it and we'll talk then. And I will link the story graphic for the book down below in case you want to check out any user-generated content warnings. This is a fantasy contemporary romance book from author Sangu Mandanna. It came out in August of 2022, so it's coming up for 2 years old. The author is Norwich-based, which is up in the north-east of the UK, if you're not someone who is au fait with where things are. The book I am most excited for, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, has been delayed until 2025. So I am tiding myself over by making this review. Indulge me while I read from the blurb because I don't think I can summarise this book without going off on very long tangents, okay? One of the few witches in Britain, Micah Moon has lived her life by 3 rules. Hide your magic, keep your head down, and stay away from other witches. Did I say Micah the first time? It could be Mika. She is good at being alone and she doesn't mind it, mostly. But then an unexpected message arrives begging her to travel to the remote and mysterious Nowhere House to teach 3 young witches, and she jumps at the chance for a different life. Nowhere House is nothing like she expects, and she's quickly tangled up in the lives and secrets of its quirky, caring inhabitants. And with Jamie, the handsome, prickly librarian who would do anything to protect his charges, and who sees Mika's arrival as a threat. An irritatingly appealing threat. As she finds her feet, the thought of belonging somewhere starts to feel like a real responsibility. But magic isn't the only danger in the world, and soon she will need to decide whether to risk everything to protect the found family she didn't know she was looking for. And then there's a little picture of a dog, because there's a dog in this. Whether it is Mika or Micah, I'm not sure, and somebody who's listened to the audiobook, please could you tell me. Love her as a character. I think she's fantastic. At the beginning of the book, she's sort of hiding her magic in plain sight by being a witch on TikTok, and I think that's very funny. But she has that tragic backstory and that classic, I am a loner, no, I'm not looking for a found family, oh wait, I found one energy. But for some reason in this book, and I think it's true of a lot of aspects of this book, it either doesn't feel cheesy, or it feels cheesy, but it's in such a well-written way of the book clearly setting you up for what that's going to be, and the tone of the book is so well handled and the pace is just right that it doesn't bother you. I really love Mika's approach to things. I like the way that her backstory informs what she does. I felt like she was a really understandable character in terms of her actions and her reactions to things. And I liked that a lot of it was complicated and a bit messy, and it's not necessarily clear-cut with Mika's life and who is in it. It's not necessarily perfectly spelled out who is correct and who is not correct in Mika's life. Obviously, this is a found family story, and I think that's probably one of the biggest selling points and one of the biggest reasons I tell people to read this. The magic is great. The world building around witches is great. The way that the magic system works, which is one of my favourite things, it's a very soft magic system, but it still has rules to it, and I liked that. But most of all, this is a story about found family, and you know me, I love that trope. If you also love that trope, I think this is one of the best examples that is out there at the moment. A lot of people are writing found family, a lot of people are writing found family very successfully, and this is one of them. I think what I like about this story in particular, and the way it does character, especially side characters, is there's a lot to do with a very broad found family alongside a very close-knit one. Probably not something I can get into too much without spoiling things, but worth noting. This is I said a boy-girl romance like I'm in primary school, but you know what I mean? There's a man and a woman. However, this is it's not a very queer story, except that it is. We do have gay characters in the story. It is very welcoming and accepting as a series. It just happens to be that the main pairing that we deal with, we have a grumpy male librarian and a female witch. I really liked the romance. I thought it was a solid one. It definitely sits, for me at least, reading the book, it sits behind the family aspect of it, and I think that's the correct way to do it. It is much more about Mika's relationship with the family that she's staying with, and also Jamie happens to be there, and that's a nice bonus, right? Not that reading romance bothers me, but that's why I liked it, and I think that's why I still feel that this is in essence a very gay book, even though it's not. I know cozy books aren't for everyone. When I was reading Travis Baldree, which is another book that gets compared to this quite often, the Legends and Lattes book, I definitely had some people kind of push back and say, actually, I don't love really cozy fiction because often it feels like there aren't any stakes. I think that this book manages to balance that well, and that there is this cozy found family, witchy, chill kind of book, but the consequences of things going wrong are quite high, and there are some big reveal moments in the story. So I would say if you're not a cozy fan, you might still enjoy this, depending on what your criticisms of that is as a, not even genre, as a tone of book. For me personally, I think that balance makes it work very well. And then I tried to come up with 2 more criticisms of this book, and I really just can't. I really like it. I've reread it multiple times because I was worried that it was just that my first impression of the book really rang true and then the rest of me was like, eh. But no, every time I've read it, I've had a wonderful time. There's a dog, there's magic spells, there's adorable children who aren't annoying, there's romance, there's dad characters who are just nice, and it's just a really enjoyable reading experience. It does not take a lot out of you to read it. It fills you up in a way that some books really take a lot out of me to get them read. I just found it wonderful. I just think it's well worth a read. Other things you might want to read, or books that are compared to this, it is very often compared to The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I think probably justifiably so. I would say if you liked one, you will like the other. House in the Cerulean Sea is dealing with slightly different themes, I think, but this does have some of those more in-depth elements to it, particularly around upbringing, I guess is where I can say that without spoiling things. So yes, if you've heard that comparison, it does ring true. I mentioned Travis Baldree, Legends and Lattes, and Bookshops and Bone Dust. I do think there are some similarities there as well. But where this book is the found family, then the romance, for Travis Baldree, I do feel like that was flipped. Another one that might not necessarily fit the cozy vibes, but I think thematically has some similarities, is HMRC by Juno Dawson, Her Majesty's Royal Coven. That is another witchy book, but has a lot to do with controlling magic and understanding magic and rules and regulations and so such, that I think is very interesting. Should you read The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches? 100% yes, absolutely, you absolutely, definitely, 100 billion% yes, you should. I don't know if I have that much more to say on it. This is gonna be a short video because my thoughts are just yes, absolutely. Oh, another comparison, I think Psalm for the Wild Belt maybe. There's some element of cozy hopefulness that comes through in this that maybe doesn't come through in other books. Sorry to bring back to comparisons after I've done the last bit of the video, but as I say, I'm chaotic and feeling good about it. I really enjoyed reading this. I've enjoyed it every single time I've read it. I will enjoy reading it again. I'm excited for future books. I will patiently wait until 2025. Yes. Have you read this? Do you have plans to? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're commenting, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. You can also come hang out on Discord where we have chill chats about books. I'd like to say an enormous thank you to all the ghosts who haunt me over on Patreon. They support the channel and in return get early access to videos, bonus content, live streams, and more. If you'd like to join their number, that's linked below as well. Thank you so much to you for watching. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. There's gonna be some bloopers now. Sangu Mandannna is...